Fixed-term and periodic tenancies are the most common types of leasehold estates. But there are others, such as a tenancy at will. The characteristics of a tenancy at will include: the tenant possesses the property with the landlord's knowledge and consent, frequently at the termination of a lease. Possession is provided for an indefinite and unspecified period of time. There is no underlying agreement, or the agreement has expired, and there may be no provision for the payment of rent. Some of these characteristics may strike you as unusual and leave you wondering what situations would naturally give rise to a tenancy at will. Well, a common example is when a family member allows another family member to live in their property without any type of agreement whatsoever and without paying any rent. This meets all the criteria. Possession is mutually agreed to, possession is indefinite, and there is no underlying agreement documenting the arrangement. And the family member does not pay rent to the other family member. Now, though the tenant in this example is not required to pay literal rent, you could interpret the love and affection they provide to the other family member as a sort of intangible trade-off for their possession. However, we're referring to literal monetary rent in this context. Here are some examples you might encounter. When a tenant is granted the right to indefinitely occupy the property in exchange for services rendered. Notice here again the tenant is providing a service in exchange for possession, not literal rent. When a tenant is given possession of a property under an unenforceable lease agreement, for example, a written lease that's not signed, and there is no payment of rent. However, once rent is accepted, this creates a periodic tenancy. Or when a tenant is given possession of the property while lease negotiations regarding the rent amount are still in progress and no rent is accepted. For a tenancy at will, a written 3-day notice to pay rent or quit is all that is required to implement any change in the right to continue to occupy the premises. For instance, change it to a different kind of tenancy or terminate the tenancy. Contrast this with the more onerous notice requirements for terminating a periodic tenancy.